Hey, what is up, everybody? Hope you are having a great night. It is officially fight day in the UK where I live right now. It is 6 a.m. on the day of the fights. The fights start about 11 p.m. over here, so still a long way to go. I will be having a nice 7 or 8 hours sleep before the fights take place. But I am currently up pulling an all-nighter to finish off my research and also to adjust my sleep cycle for live betting all the fights taking place at UFC Mexico City. So a big thank you wherever you are in the world for stopping by this live stream. This is going to be a live research session where we go through the fight between Askar, Askarov and Brandon Moreno. And this video just got a little bit interesting, actually, a little bit more interesting, because I didn't realise until I started researching Brandon Moreno that he actually got released from the UFC, which was harsh as fuck. So he's actually already fought one time since being released. He fought at LFA 69 against Michael Perez. So the good news is about this video actually gets a lot better now, because we can actually watch this fight and some of Askarov's recent fights to basically visualize how both guys match up and give us a good idea of how this fight is going to play out. But how harsh is it that the UFC released Brandon Moreno? I mean, he lost to Alexandro Pantoja, went the distance, no shame there. Pantoja's a beast. Then lost the decision against Sergio Pettis in a 5-round title fight. Again, Pettis is no picnic. We'll be researching his fight against Tyson Nam later. And then, going into those two losses, he was on a 3-fight win streak in UFC, so super harsh. Didn't realise the UFC had let him go, but it makes this video a hell of a lot more interesting now, because we can watch his fight here from LFA 69. But what we're going to do first of all, obviously a running theme for the videos, these research videos this week, is to talk about how both fighters have prepared to compete at the high altitude climate in Mexico City. And obviously Brandon Moreno should be pretty well prepared. He has previously fought in Mexico City on a couple of different occasions, and of course he was involved in this 5-round title fight against Sergio Pettis in Mexico City back in 2017. So he lives in Mexico. He's been training in Mexico City for a while. We can see he's been hanging out with the Alliance MMA boys. Here he is with Jose Quinones. He's been hanging out with Jeremy Stevens. So, who else we got in this picture? We've got Angela Hill, who is competing this weekend. We've got, like I say, Quinones. We have got the Alliance MMA coach Wilson Rice, Sahara Eubanks, and plenty of fighters to train with. So Brandon Moreno should be pretty well prepared for the high altitude. This is obviously Askarov's UFC debut. He is the current ACB flyweight champion. He is undefeated at 10-0, and if you can look at the kind of records that of the guys that he's been fighting, pretty decent level of opposition. And of course, there are no easy fights in ACB. It is a very decent promotion. Loads of Russian beasts over in ACB. So this is his debut. So we've got to remember, a massive percentage of fighters lose when they make their UFC debut. But what is good to see is, even though this is Askarov's UFC debut, he is taking altitude very, very seriously. Here we can see there's a picture of him outside a gym in Mexico on September 6th. Showing that he has gone out to Mexico City to climatize the high altitude early. So he will, come fight time, have spent about 3 weeks in Mexico City to climatize. So Askarov doing everything necessary, I guess, to give himself the best chance of having a win on his debut. So, like I say, what's really cool about this is we've got one fight that we can watch from Brandon Moreno, and we have also got a few different fights to watch from Askarov. So what we are going to do is, best thing we can do is kick off by watching Askarov's last fight against Rasul Albaskanov. And then what we will do is watch Moreno's last fight, and then we can kind of visualize how both guys might match up. And then we will watch a couple more fights from Askarov to see what he brings to the table. So this looks like the fight that we want. It was available on YouTube, actually. Where has it gone? Has it disappeared? Has it been taken down? When I actually got prepared for this, it was available. It looks like we might have to watch it on one of these shitty illegal sites instead. Very disappointing. It was actually available on YouTube, though, when I checked earlier in the week. But let's see if we can get it going here That will do. That will do for me. Good enough is good enough. Oh, it is. Is it on YouTube? We might actually be able to get a YouTube logo there. No. Alright, never mind. This'll do. This'll do. No problem. Oh, it is. It's unlisted on YouTube. Let's see if we can get it. Ah, there we go. I knew it was available on YouTube. I knew I saw it somewhere. So we are up on YouTube now. This is Askarov against Rasul Albaskanov. Let's just make sure it is the correct fight because my Russian isn't too good. Is it? It's not, is it? It's not the fight we want. Don't think this is the fight we want, boys. Is it? Let's have a look. Is this Askarov? Yes, this is Askarov. Perfect. This is the fight we want. Excellent stuff. Alright, cool. Askarov in the red shorts. That is one hell of a hairdo as well from the ring announcer. Loving his hairdo. Here we go. First round, Askarov red shorts. Let's see what he brings to the table. I don't know anything about Askarov. This is the first time I've ever seen him fight. How is he going to look? What kind of problems is he going to present Moreno? First of all, gets taken down. Did look like he was going to show off a nice sprawl there, but not good initially because Brandon Moreno does have a really explosive, powerful double leg shot as well. And from what I've seen, based on the Moreno fights that I just watched, and based on the takedown that Askarov just gave up, Moreno can for sure get Askarov down. So I am looking forward to seeing what Askarov can get going off his back here. Tried to use a Kimura to create a scramble to get back to his feet. He's fishing for the Kimura here. Not because he's trying to go for a Kimura, but because he's trying to create a scramble to hit a reversal or get back up. Is he going to get it? Is he going to hit the reversal? He's trying. He's almost there. Not at the moment. The opportunity's gone. So far, not liking what I'm seeing from Askarov, but of course, we're only a minute and a half into footage. You know, there are better ways that you can try and work your way back to your feet rather than trying to hit a reversal off a Kimura. He's going to go for it again, though. His opponent's moved into side control now, which makes it even harder to get that reversal. A little bit easier from half guard. Okay, he's gone back to half guard now. And Askarov's given up on it. And he's recovered guard, so his opponent, so now he's rolling. It looked like he was going to throw his legs up for an armbar attempt there. His opponent does a good job of scrambling out of it though, and this has created the scramble that Askarov wanted to get back to his feet. His opponent not letting go of that head, moves. It's a very nice back take from his opponent here, and good defense. Askarov not giving his back up, roll to his back, and back in guard. So really, really high level fight here though. Both guys looking pretty good on the ground. I would actually say, what is this guy called? This is Albaskanov at 7-2. So you can see the standard in ACB is pretty good. I would actually say that his top game does look quite a bit heavier than Moreno's. Moreno's very tricky on the ground. He's good in the scramble. Very, very slick at taking the back. Very, very slick submissions. But this guy's top game looks pretty heavy. Love how he likes to stay in half guard. Obviously, half guard is the hardest position to get reversed from, basically. When an opponent takes half guard from top position, it's kind of like a safe position. There are a lot more reversals, even in mount, even in side control, and in guard. Easier to start working your way back to your feet. Obviously, he is in guard. Well, as I say, he's in guard. He looked to pass the guard there. You notice how he postured up and threatened with ground and pound. That he wasn't actually trying to land ground and pound there. He was trying to create another scramble to be able to advance into half guard. But Askarov again showing a very, very good guard game and preventing him from doing that. So really, really nice top game here from Albaskanov. I'm just going to call him Rasul because that is a difficult surname to pronounce. So very heavy top game here from Rasul and a tough first round from Askarov. Askarov again trying to work his way back to his feet. For me though, when Askarov's creating these like scrambles and in a position where he might be able to clear his legs and explode out of a bad position, he's not as fast. He kind of hesitates, and that's what enables Rasul to get top position back. So a rough first round this for Askarov. He's clearly lost this round by quite a decent margin. Someone in the comments last week told me that Askarov had like Khabib style wrestling and that I need to check him out ASAP. I don't know what that dude. I don't know what the fuck that dude was talking about. I mean, look at that, just getting caught on a weak single leg there. You wouldn't see Khabib getting taken down off a weak single leg like that. So people were very, very high on Askarov. We are seeing some red flags in this very first round we've watched him, but he's got top position back here in half guard. But obviously shouldn't be enough to get the round back unless he is able to do something absolutely huge here in the next 20 seconds, which I doubt he is going to be able to do. And also, let's like this video, guys. Let's give ACA MMA a little bit of love for allowing us to watch their fights and research their fights. Please give them a subscribe. Very, very kind of them to let us use their footage. Also, if you haven't already, guys, please hit the like button on this video. It would help the channel grow a lot. I would really appreciate it. And also, when the video gets uploaded, please leave a comment. And what I will do, guys, throughout the video, when there's like stalls in action, I will skim through the comments and answer any questions you guys have got. So Gunnar is saying Askarov's unremarkable as a wrestler. I get he has great credentials, but his actual wrestling in fights is average for the weight class at best. Based on that first round, bro, I would agree with you, Gunnar. Based on what we've just seen, I would agree with you. He never shoots clean open mat takedowns. Doesn't seem to have great micro adjustments for controlling top position. Yeah, I mean, based on that first round, it is rough, dude. He walks in the range of the box and Moreno throws his strikes along. There's nothing Askarov can do that Ortiz didn't try to do better, and that was a few years ago versus Moreno. If Moreno is as good as he was at 23, he has all he needs to do to win. So, you know what's interesting? I watched that Dustin Ortiz fight with Moreno, and Moreno's takedown defense looked really, really poor. I know he won that fight, but he made so many positional mistakes and technical mistakes that the only thing I really knew about Askarov going into this research was the guy, can't remember who it was, but a guy in my live chat on one of these research videos last week told me Askarov had Khabib style wrestling. So I was thinking, after watching the Dustin Ortiz fight, I was thinking, you know what, Askarov, if he's anything like Khabib, he could be a great bet here, because Moreno's takedown defense is super suspect. But based on what I've seen, I mean, he was gifted that takedown there. He didn't really do anything. His opponent just slipped into a bad position. Now we get to see a little bit of Askarov's top game here. No, we don't, because he's allowed his opponent to work back up to his feet, but kept a hold of that single leg. But his opponent showing great balance to try and explode out of there. Askarov not letting him off the hook just yet, though. Fact is, it's his opponent in on a single leg here. Askarov staying heavy from top position, though, making it difficult for his opponent to turn the corner and complete this takedown. Are we possibly seeing signs that his opponent's starting to get a little bit tired? Because in that first round, Rasul was handling Askarov in the grappling exchanges, whereas now, not really showing any urgency in these positions, and his movement is a little bit more laboured. Askarov getting strong underhooks in play there, fishing for a dash choke. Is this the end of the fight? I know he gets a finish in the second round. His opponent not showing any urgency to fight the hands. Looks to try and take top position from it. Very nice. Not so much anymore. This is deep. Oh, that's super deep. Fucking hell. That was super deep. And it is a finish for Askarov, the dash choke. Super deep. Very nice submission. So, I mean, what's interesting about that is Askarov showing plenty of weaknesses off his back, but looked very, very dangerous offensively there as soon as he grabbed hold of that head. I mean, his opponent didn't really try and fight hands at all, which possibly gifted that submission to him on a plate a little bit, but that was really deep, and he went out extremely quickly there. Jesus, that was vicious. That was vicious as fuck. So what we'll do, I will just have a quick skim through these comments, boys, and see if we've got any questions, and then we will watch this fight, Brandon Moreno's last fight from LFA 69 against Michael Perez, and then we'll go back and watch a bit more of Askarov. Or should we watch more of Askarov first? Well, let me know in the comments, guys, if you prefer to watch another Askarov fight to learn a little bit more about him, because we didn't really get to learn anything about his stand-up, or if you want to go into Moreno. In fact, it's better if we watch another Askarov fight. Let's see if we got any questions here on this fight. So Gunner's brought up some really good points. So Tong Bokez has asked how long Askarov's been in Mexico. And the answer to that question is he's been in Mexico about 3 weeks. JU saying, I still prefer Askar here, but mostly to fade Moreno. That's what fight research is for, man. We're seeing right now whether we should fade Moreno or not. We don't just blind fade fighters. That's what we watch the footage for. So Alex Leon saying Brandon Moreno is a brown belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Askarov is a purple belt. We got to remember though that in Sambo they're not really going to be ranked in BJJ. You know, doesn't really mean too much. You can still be a high-level grappler and not ranked that high in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Obviously, if you're a high-level Sambo practitioner. Any more questions? Wasted Bananas saying that ACA, ACB is a promotion that could easily compete with UFC fighters. I agree, man. They've got some beasts over there. I think Albert Tumanov's in ACB as well. He was an absolute monster at welterweight. I think he left over contract issues, but he was ranked in the top 10, I think, at one point. So a few people talking about Eubanks at minus 110. Bab329's getting married in 9 months and I'm invited. Definitely chicken, bro. Thanks a lot. Let me know where it is. Where's the wedding, man? I love travelling, dude. Let me know where the wedding is, mate. If there's no UFC, I'm there. Definitely chicken, though, man. I'm not the biggest fish fan. Gotta eat fish because it's healthy, but I don't tend to enjoy it that much. Let's take a look. Alright. Let's... That's another interesting fact I forgot to bring up as well. Apparently Askarov is deaf. Not sure what impact that has. But yeah, let's watch another one of his fights. Didn't learn too much about him there. This fight, let's see if the fight against Anthony Leon is available from back in 2017. From ACB 58. I'm sure all of his recent fights were available. Let's take a look. Doesn't look like this one is. What a shame. Usually you can get these sites on like fights on like Russian sites. Am I missing something? This one doesn't look like it's available. Oh, here we go. Looks like we'll be able to get it on a Russian site. Boom. Here we go. So Askarov against Leon. Leon 15-7. Oh, we're going to have loads of buffering issues. Here we go. Askarov, the lighter skinned gentleman. Let's see what skills he brings to the table here. Hopefully we get to see a little bit of his striking here. So he's coming out southpaw. Throws a very, very nice front kick up the middle. I should probably make that smaller. Yeah, let's make it smaller. So southpaw stance for Askarov. When he came out in his last fight against Razul, he was very, very light on his feet. Showed really good movement. A little bit more flat-footed here. And of course we've got to remember that these fights are a year apart. So this fight that we're watching right now was over 2 years ago. Back in April 2017. So obviously, you know, how old is Askarov? Askarov, only 26 years old. So when this fight took place, he would only have been 24. So he's likely to have improved significantly since then. Very nice inside leg kicks, though. Definitely not as mobile as we saw against Razul, though. A lot more flat-footed in this fight. Catches a nice body kick there. Very good read. Beautiful inside leg kick. These inside leg kicks from the southpaw stance are absolutely vicious. And you see this technique you see this technique available to a lot of southpaws, because notice how, and he tried, wow, again taken down easily. So it was actually a very nice takedown there for Leon, because he threw another one of those fast, snappy inside leg kicks. But I guess the problem is where he was spamming those leg kicks over and over again. He threw like 4 of them in the first 2 minutes. Leon was able to get a read on them and turn one of them into a takedown. So now again we get to see a little bit of Askarov off his back here. And even though Askarov is, you know, he has gone out to Mexico City for 3 weeks to prepare, Brandon Moreno has fought in a 5-round main event fight against Sergio Pettis in Mexico City and looked great even in that 5th round. You know, in the 5th round he was causing Pettis problems. So we know Brandon Moreno's cardio should be on point. What I'm seeing so far, I am starting to feel like a bet on Moreno might be worth it, based on what I'm seeing here. Because Moreno's the underdog. And I'm not seeing why Askarov should be the favourite. Am I crazy? Am I crazy? Based on what I'm seeing, I'm not that impressed by Askarov. Very weak off his back here. Throwing the legs up to try and create a scramble, roll for an armbar or something to escape this position. But Leon's staying heavy from top position. And ACB gifting Askarov with a stand-up there. I hate it when referees do that. I completely disagree with stand-ups in MMA. I just don't think they should happen. The fighter works really hard to get into top position. Again, so Leon in on a single leg here, transitions the body lock takedown. Askarov did a better job of stuffing that, very, very nice. And then Leon basically falls over. So better takedown defense there from Leon. Sorry, Askarov. And now this is the same position that we saw him get that submission in against Razul. But this time Leon making it more difficult for Askarov to get control of that head. So instead Askarov's in on the legs to try and drag Leon away from the cage. So Askarov giving up his single leg here. What can Leon do with it? Nothing. There's a lot of mistakes Askarov's making in these grappling exchanges. So, for example, there, when Leon was in deep on his single leg, should have been fighting to break the grip or working for underhooks. He did neither of those things. He chose to throw strikes instead, which put him at big risk of being taken down. But one thing we got to remember is this fight was over 2 years ago. So Askarov could have improved a ton since then. I mean, even his last fight against Razul, that was over a year ago. So at 26 years old, he's going to be making massive improvements at this stage in his career. But I am looking forward to watching that LFA fight to seeing what improvements Moreno has made, because it's been well over a year since we last saw him in the UFC as well. Again, throwing another one of those nice inside leg kicks out there, but not fully committing to it. And again, Leon just really falling over there. Got their legs tangled up, and Leon went down, and now Askarov's in top position. But Askarov's not the most technical grappler I've seen by any means. Not the strongest wrestler. I mean, what is he doing here? I mean, he's trying to gain control of the neck. He's trying to fish for the rear naked choke before actually getting control of his opponent's back or getting any hooks in. I mean, now he's got full control of his opponent's back, but he did things the wrong way round. And, these sort of little technical mistakes will work against lower level grapplers, but as he starts to face higher level grapplers, all a higher level grappler would have done in that position was turn into him. And then Askarov likely would have ended up on the bottom because he didn't have control of their body before fishing for the neck. So he's actually gained control of Leon's back here. He's got a full body triangle locked in. Very, very nice position for him to be in. But like I say, a more positionally aware grappler would have just turned into Askarov as soon as he started fishing for the neck. And he never would have got this position. He never would have got the hooks in. So Leon's kind of gifted him this position here. And now chipping away at him from back control with some heavy ground and pound. If we got any questions? So Jake Capelli saying, I really like Askarov. Moreno is worse in all areas. Not sure about that, dude, based on what we're seeing right now. We'll be interested to see how everyone feels after we watch Moreno's last fight. We'll do it after this. Yeah, please, boys, while you're watching, please hit the like button. It would really mean a lot. It would help the channel grow. It would make a big difference. So this is a very bad position for Leon to be in. He's actually going to roll to his back and give up mount here, which gives him more options. It's easier to escape mount than it is to escape having your back fully controlled with a body triangle locked in. It's easier to escape mount. There are more scrambles you can create, but Askarov's taken the back again here as Leon was trying to work his way back to his feet. Took the back very, very quickly. So this is nice. What's interesting about this is Moreno's actually very good at taking the back as well. Moreno's not the strongest wrestler. He doesn't have particularly good takedown defense. Not the most skilled grappler, but he is also very good at taking the back. And clearly, Askarov's very good at taking the back. He did make a bit of a mistake in going for the neck before the hooks when he initially got this position. But maybe that's just an unusual thing he's got very good at in training. Maybe we can't be too harsh on him. Maybe that's just kind of like his thing. Some fighters do things that would normally not be the correct thing to do, but it works well for them because they're very, very good at doing it. So, for example, usually when you're defending a takedown against the cage, you should be battling for underhooks. Whereas a lot of Muay Thai fighters have a lot of success defending takedowns with overhooks, which aren't as effective as underhooks, but it works for Muay Thai fighters. Jermaine Durandame uses the technique very well. Usually you would say they shouldn't do that. That's the wrong technique. But if it works, it's not really the wrong technique, is it? And maybe Askarov is so good at taking his opponent's back that going for the neck before controlling the body or getting hooks in play works for him. Because he's certainly looked very, very good from back control here. Obviously, if Moreno gets stuck in this position, he is going to be in a lot of trouble. So into the third round now. Antonio just saying that Moreno's never been finished. A few people say Moreno's worth a bet. Weekend Fright saying we're overrating Moreno. We should watch his last fight. That is what we're going to do very soon. Simple man, whoever compared this guy to Khabib should be banned from your site for life. Yes, dude, they have no eyeballs, I agree. Their eyes are definitely broken if you think this guy's as good as Khabib. So a few people saying that you're not a fan of Moreno based on his last fight. So I'm looking forward to seeing his last fight. Because what you do sometimes see from guys is when they get cut from the UFC, that kind of, they lose their motivation after that. Wow, again, interesting. This position's been absolutely gifted to Askarov here. Didn't really get this takedown. How the fuck do you get taken down in this position? So Leon has got full control of Askarov's body. He's got his hands connected together. How has he ended up on the bottom? Maybe it looks to me like Leon's getting tired here. He absolutely gifted that takedown to Askarov on a plate. That takedown said more about what Leon did wrong rather than what Askarov did correct. And now we see Askarov in half guard. Leon, after a strong start, making life very easy for Askarov here. I have a feeling Leon might be starting to get tired. And we see Askarov just absolutely cruising in half guard. He's taking the back again. How does he get this? So inside control here. I think it's side control. I can't quite see from this camera angle. It looks like, yeah, Leon's going to try and stand back up again. And Askarov right on the back. Look at that back take. Very nice. 2 hooks in. He's going to go the body triangle. He does. Very quick back take. But Leon kind of gifting him these positions in this third round. I'm guessing this fight ends by rear naked choke, does it? Body triangle here. Is this a twister? Is this a twister, guys? BJJ guys, let me know. Is that a twister? What is that? It's not a rear naked choke. What is it officially called? A twister. It is a twister. Don't see many of them in MMA. Very interesting. And the problem with Askarov at the moment is if we go and watch this fight now against Jose Maria Tome from back in 2016. This fight was almost 3 years ago. So Askarov would only have been 23 years old back then, 23, 24. He's going to be a completely different guy back in 2016. So there's no point in us watching this fight. It was too long ago. He's going to be completely different. So let's watch Brandon Moreno's last fight and let's make a decision after watching his last fight. Do we have any other questions? Let's see. Let's have some other questions. What have we got? Hot Mayonnaise has asked, could you tell anything about Askarov's striking? I could tell he's improved a lot, because if you look at the fight against Leon, in the first round he was very, very flat-footed. Whereas if you look at the first round against Razul, he was very, very light on his feet, moving in and out of range very, very nicely. So it appears in this year gap between these two fights, he's made big improvements. So if we look at this fight being over a year ago, you're likely, if he's improved his footwork and his mobility that much in a year, you're likely to see another improvement, another order of magnitude improvement from Askarov in his striking in that time. So, you know, I would expect Askarov's striking to be looking a lot better than it did against Razul, although we didn't see much of it. Wasted Bananas saying, I rate Zabit higher than Yair in almost all areas. I definitely agree with you, sir. I think Zabit is a lot better than Yair. Tong Bokes has asked, who wins in a fight between Justin Bieber and Michelle Pereira? That depends, bro. Are we talking about a dance-off or a fight? If we're talking about a dance-off, I reckon Michelle Pereira would murder him. If we're talking about a fight, I reckon Bieber knocks him out. Alex Leon has said, I don't rate Moreno highly, but he has faced tougher competition than Askarov. But is his ground game solid enough to beat Askarov? I'm not sure he seemed solid during Pettis round 1. Simple Man has said, I know this is not the kind of fighter I want to put my money on. Weekend Fright has said, you're tripping Allsop. You really need to watch Moreno's fight before you say anything else positive about him. Well, we are just about to watch his last fight, dude. Alex Leon has said, Moreno usually scores a lot of takedowns and Askarov lets himself get taken down a lot. Very good point. Moreno does have a nice double leg offensive wrestling shot and doesn't look like it's that difficult to put Askarov on his back. Hot Mayonnaise has said, I could see Askarov being much better on the feet. It's possible, dude. We didn't see a lot of Askarov stand up, but the way he moved in the first round against Razul and those inside leg kicks in the fight against Leon suggests he definitely knows what he's doing, has quite technical kickboxing, and Moreno's striking defense is pretty poor. Right, boys, let's go into the Moreno fight. Let's have a look at the last one, shall we? These comments just fly, man. I hate how they fly. It's so hard to keep up with all the comments. I am really sorry, guys, if I'm not answering your comments, but YouTube, man, is an absolute goddamn nightmare. They just let the comments fly, and you can't keep up with them. Let's have a look. This is Brandon Moreno's last fight against Michael Perez. Gets a round 4 finish in a flyweight title fight for LFA. Let's have a look. Moreno in the black shorts. Perez in the blue shorts. Let's see what happens. Does Moreno look better or worse than he did in the UFC? Remember, I've watched his last few fights before doing this live stream. First thing that I've noticed is that Brandon Moreno's shorts are way too big for him. The hell is going on? So one thing I am noticing straight away, guys, I've just noticed two things actually. So the first thing, notice how heavy Moreno is standing on his lead leg. It's got quite a wide stance, standing very, very heavy on his lead leg. So we just saw in that last fight that we watched, Askarov's got really, really nasty inside leg kicks from the southpaw stance. So if we take a look at how both these guys match up from this frame, both guys kind of standing face to face from this frame. So we've got Brandon Moreno here standing orthodox, and we've also got Perez standing orthodox. So here, Brandon Moreno's lead leg is not vulnerable to the inside leg kick because obviously both guys standing orthodox. So his inside leg's not opened up to Perez's power right leg. All Perez can do here is beat up the lead leg with the outside leg kick, right? But if you look at Askarov, who will be fighting out of the southpaw stance, he'll be opposite stances, opposite sides to Perez, which means Moreno's inside leg here, the knee, the calf, everything, it will be wide open to those vicious leg kicks from Askarov. So the very first thing that I've noticed here is Moreno is fighting with kind of like a lower, more compact stance than what we've seen from him in his UFC fights. So the difference in time has been over a year, right? Since we last saw him in the UFC against Alexandre Pantoja. So the differences that I've seen in that first 30 seconds between the Pantoja fight and Perez is Moreno is fighting with a much more compact striking style, heavier on his lead leg, and he's kind of keeping his chin tucked more, his shoulders arched to protect that chin. And I'm guessing the reason he's doing that is because he did take a lot of damage in the Pantoja and Pettis fights. He was getting lit up. So I'm guessing that this new stance that we're seeing from him against Perez, it's focused on defense. He's keeping his hands up, he's keeping his shoulders high, and he's keeping his chin tucked. But the first thing I'm noticing is that he is keeping his lead leg very, very heavy. He's sticking it out there. And Askarov will chew that up based on what we've seen. But maybe it's not a bad thing, because we saw Askarov give up some easy takedowns when Leon was able to catch that kick. Maybe Moreno can do the same thing. And the first thing that I've just noticed as well is Moreno throws out a really snappy right hand in a minute. So a possible sign of improved hand speed. Watch how he just throws that right hand out there to back Perez up. Very, very nice. So that's just one little observation I've made in this first 30 seconds. Moreno definitely with a lower, more compact stance here. And heavy on the lead leg. But he managed to slip that leg kick very nicely from Perez. Moreno's boxing, hand speed, looking a lot sharper and faster here in the first minute. Because we've spoken about, Askarov likely improving quite a bit in the last year since his last fight. While Moreno, he's only 25 years old. He's going to be making big improvements as well. And, this fight took place back in June, so he's likely not to look too different from this. In terms of size differences, both guys look roughly the same size, 5'6" against 5'7". But I am liking the way Moreno's moving. Way more fluid striking than we saw from him in the UFC. Much more focused on defense for sure. Hands up high, chin tucked, lower stance. Good stuff. I don't like how he's got that lead leg hanging out there though. That's wide open to those vicious Askarov leg kicks. If I move this over a bit, you'll be able to see the clock for the round. Can I do that? There we go. Don't know about you boys, but I am starving. It is time for breakfast. It's almost 7 a.m. here in the UK. And that is one of the problems with Moreno. Gives up a really easy takedown there. Moreno's takedown defense not the best. We saw him struggle quite bad against Dustin Ortiz for getting a win out of nowhere, pretty much landing a Hail Mary head kick in round 2. Perez easily able to take him down there, but couldn't establish a dominant position. Shooting another double leg there, but this time Moreno sees it coming from a mile away and is able to stuff it. And Moreno falling back into his old trap there. We saw earlier in this round throwing that really nice, sharp, snappy, technical right hand out there. Just a few moments ago through a really lazy looping hook, which missed wide. That was more of the striking style we saw from him back when he was in the UFC. Mixing things up with a nice combo there though. Went to the outside leg kick, followed it up with a 2-strike combo. Throws exactly the same 2-strike combo out there again though. Moreno showing maybe a little bit predictable because Perez read that the second time. And both punches missed wide. It's little mistakes like that that'll get Moreno into trouble. You see here, both guys have a bit of a coming together. I mean, neither guy's really got anything from this position. Neither of them have got control of each other's body. Neither guy's got anything here, really. And then their legs start to get tangled up. And Moreno thinks, decides to go for a throw, a trip. But they've got their legs tangled up, and he's actually the guy that ends up on the bottom. I hate betting on guys that do this kind of thing. And Moreno on the bottom. It's really fucking annoying, actually. And he rolls for a leg lock to create a scramble to be able to get out of this position. Looks like he's going to be able to work his way back to his feet from that leg lock. But someone with a heavier top game wouldn't have given him that opportunity to create that scramble off a leg lock. And Moreno would probably spend the final minute and 10 seconds on the bottom in this round and end up losing this round. Those little mistakes are what cost fighters fights. Because Moreno was doing quite well in this round. He was out striking Perez. He landed the more significant strikes. And really speaking, if he could just keep the fight standing and chip away at Perez for the next minute in this round, he would have won this round. But against the guy with a heavier top game, you give up that easy takedown. It doesn't matter that you've marginally outstruck the guy leading up to that final minute. You give up that takedown in the final minute and you end up losing this round. So Moreno almost threw this round away, but his opponent couldn't make him pay for it. And now they're back up, and Moreno probably going to win this round because he's finishing the round stronger. And his opponent Perez possibly showing signs that he's slowing down a little bit there. A little bit of laboured movement in the last 10 seconds, taking some deep breaths. So Moreno definitely got out of jail there. A higher level grappler, possibly like Askarov, would have made him pay there. And another thing that bothers me about that specific position, let's go back and watch that position actually, because something significant happened in that position. So here we see Moreno is given up. In fact, let's see the easy takedown that he gave up. So Moreno gives up an easy takedown here out of nowhere. They get their legs tangled up. He ends up on the bottom while actually trying to go for a throw. So Moreno's on the bottom here. Now, in order to escape this position, he rolls for a leg to try and create a scramble to work his way back up to his feet, which he goes for here. But watch this. It's a game of inches, boys. I am very, very sorry. It is a game of inches, but this is how fights get decided. So in this position here, Brandon Moreno's back is exposed here. And we saw Askarov is very, very good at taking the back of his opponent very, very quickly. If Askarov were possibly able to get his leg out of there and explode out of that leg lock, Brandon Moreno, for a fraction of a second, his back is exposed, which we saw in the Askarov fights that he only needs a fraction of a second to take the back. Now, it's unlikely he gets back control from this position, because obviously as soon as Moreno loses control of this leg, as soon as his opponent slips that leg out, Moreno, gravity is going to take over and he's instantly going to go back to his back, right? It's just, he's going to flop back to his back. So there's not much of an opportunity there for his opponent to take his back. But however, if we hit play, watch what happens next. Immediately, he started to do it there, but immediately, the only reason why he's rolled for that leg is to create a scramble to work his way back to his feet. He's not actually trying to do anything with that leg. He just wants to create space so he can explode back up. So if we just go back a second, notice how, as he rolls for it, I'll try and pause it at the exact second. Happens. Alright. It didn't. I'm never going to be able to pause the exact second, guys. I'm too slow. But the point I'm trying to make is watch what happens as soon as he gets space to work his way back to his feet. He starts to take it. As soon as there's that space, he's not interested in a leg lock. He's not interested in a submission. He's doing that to work his way back to his feet. But look what happens. As he starts to work his way back to his feet, his back is completely exposed. And we saw in Askarov's last fight, could easily step over here and take Moreno's back. Look, this back is completely exposed. It's still exposed. Now, Moreno did a good job there. You'll watch as they get back up. Moreno did a good job of turning into Perez. Perez did kind of try and take the back a little bit, maybe. Watch what happens. Watch it again. Watch it again. Does kind of think about taking the back here. But watch, Moreno prevents him from doing it by turning into him. See how Moreno turns into him there? If you see here where... in this position again, you'll see Perez gets his left arm around the back of Moreno, and that means he's working to try and take Moreno's back so he can gain control of his body to drag him back down. But Moreno doesn't let him do that, because he pivots into him, he spins into him. Watch the left arm here, left arm there. That's the critical point. So Perez is trying to gain control of Moreno's body or take his back to drag him back down. But the two things that are preventing him from doing that. The first thing, Moreno has done a great job of getting his right leg on the outside of Perez, which means that Perez can't actually move to take the back because Moreno's right leg is blocking him. And the second thing, like we say, Moreno pivots into him. And Moreno's back up didn't end up on the bottom. Didn't end up with his back taken, wasn't in a bad position, but like we have seen, MMA is a game of inches, and Askarov can take his opponent's back in a fraction of a second, and there was a window of opportunity there if you were very fast to take Moreno's back. So that is a little bit of a worry how on the when Moreno is on the ground, he's happy to kind of roll for submissions and attack submissions to create scrambles, to work his way back to his feet, but he'll leave his back exposed. Now, in that position, he did a great job of preventing Perez from taking the back by keeping that right leg in a good position and also by pivoting into his opponent. But Askarov's very, very good at taking the back. A little bit of a red flag for Moreno, that. Now we go to the second round. Let's take a look. What have we got going on here? Who's Moreno got in his corner? Anyone we recognise? No. No one that we recognise. And Perez very, very happy after the way that first round went. Very, very competitive first round. Second round up, boys. Let me know in the live chat what you think so far. Both guys clearly have weaknesses that the other can exploit. Clearly. Askarov, weak off his back, gives up easy takedowns. Moreno, very heavy. Look now, guys, at the beginning of this round, how heavy on this lead leg he is. Just visualise, try and visualise now. Askarov stood in front of him, light on his feet, hammering that lead leg from the southpaw stance. That lead leg is wide open. And another issue here with Moreno. I mean, look at that again, guys. Leon shoots a very nice deep double leg takedown, gets it easily. But more concerning, watch what happens as they hit the ground. So here, Leon in on a double leg. As they hit the ground, can I pause it? Here. So exactly the same position that we saw in the last round. Moreno starts to leave his back exposed and give his back up as he's going to the ground. And obviously the problem with this is a guy like Askarov, as soon as Moreno exposes his back, he's going to be thinking, I need to jump all over that back. Now, it would be difficult to get it from this position, because as you can see here, Moreno's right side is touching the cage, so there wouldn't be a lot of space to sneak a leg in here, or sneak an arm in, which is why Perez has got his arm here in on the legs instead, and it's probably going to prevent Moreno from having his back taken here, but again leaving his back exposed, something that a guy and there was another split second as they hit the ground where his back was fully exposed. There, see, so when Perez was in on the initial takedown, Moreno had his right side tight to the cage. So even though his back was exposed, it would have been hard to take his back from that position because the cage was blocking his opponent from getting hooks in play. But here his back is fully exposed. If Perez could just clear his right leg here, he can step over easily and start working for hooks. Askarov's going to make him pay for that. But instead, very, very smart from Perez, chooses to take half guard instead. Moreno just pops right back up. Moreno really, really punishing Perez for, and again, look what has happened. God, this is why I love MMA, boys. I get excited. Boys. This is why I get excited. This is why you have to watch footage, boys. This is why you have to watch footage. So all the fight, we've been, pointing to these little minute, tiny little details. Moreno giving his back up there. Moreno giving his back up there. And Perez hasn't been fast enough to make him pay for it. But now watch what happens. Moreno gives his back up while working his way back to his feet here. And look what happens. Perez keeps control of the body, Khabib style. Moreno's back up, but Perez keeps control of the body. And Moreno's more than happy throughout this fight to give up his back. He's done it the whole fight to create scrambles to work his way back to his feet. But Perez keeps control of the body, drags him to the ground, and manages to take the back. So finally, Moreno giving his back up all fight has cost him here. And it looks like Perez might actually be able to take mount here. And not anymore. Moreno turned to the opposite side. Perez needs a battle to get his left hook in play. But what we are seeing, guys, is at the moment, Perez has not been quick enough to get hooks in play to fully control that back. We saw from Askarov's past fights that he would have had a full body triangle locked in play by now. It's more difficult for Leon now because Moreno's got this left leg up in play. And Perez might actually lose this position. Moreno might actually be able to scramble into top position here. He can't. Perez does a good job of staying heavy from top. Seeing all kinds of red flags from Moreno here, boys. All kinds of red flags. This is not good. Again, look, his back fully exposed. Fully exposed. Askarov would take this, boys. He would take it. He would take this all day. Moreno belly down here. All kinds of bad from Moreno. And easily thrown to his back. All kinds of bad. Moreno in on a single leg, though. What a shit show this fight's turning out to be. What a total shit show this fight is turning out to be. Both guys trying to get in on their own single legs here. It's Moreno that ends up on the bottom in a crazy scramble. This fight's chaos now. This fight has descended into chaos, boys. Red Flag City. Now they are back in the middle of the centre of the cage. Just trying to process everything that's happening. Now I'm trying to process how both these guys match up to see if there's any betting opportunities here. Moreno a slight underdog. Askarov a moderate favourite. Let's take a look at the odds. So over the next couple of rounds we can start to process this fight from a betting point of view. So let's refresh this to get the latest odds up. So Askarov currently around a 1.67 favourite. Definitely not those odds. 1.67, which is minus 149. For an implied probability of 60%. If we look at Moreno, currently around about an average of 2.35. Which is plus 135 for an implied probability of 43%. So the bookies are roughly capping this fight 60-40 roughly in favour of Askarov. Which means if you want to bet this fight, you pretty much have to cap this as a fifth. Well, if you want to bet this fight, you pretty much have to give Brandon Moreno a 50% chance of winning. Or you have to give Askarov a 65% or better chance of winning, which I definitely can't do. Based on his takedown defense and how weak Askarov looked off his back, there's no way you can cap him at 65 to 70% here. You can't bet Askarov at those odds. Plus this is UFC debut. Plus the fight's at high altitude. Plus Moreno's got home advantage. There are just too many reasons not to bet Askarov. You cannot bet Askarov here. I don't care how you want to sell it to me. I don't care how you want to justify it. That guy's takedown defense is bad. He's weak off his back. Moreno, he's fighting a guy with home advantage. He's never fought a high altitude before. It's his UFC debut. You cannot cap him at 65 to 70%. You just can't do it. Askarov is a clear no bet. But look at that. That's a fucking mistake from Moreno. Watch how he just throws a lazy strike out there. What strike was it? Was it a kick? Throws a lazy leg kick out there. And look what we see here. Again, his back is completely exposed. In that fraction of a second, if Askarov reads it, he could drive in on a double leg, connect his hands around Moreno's body, drag him to the ground and start working for a takedown. Oh, so many red flags with Moreno. And it's a shame. It is a shame that Askarov has shown us a lot of red flags as well, like being weak off his back, like giving up easy takedowns, because Moreno's not great. Moreno's showing us lots of red flags. And again, look at how heavily he stands on his lead leg there. Watching footage is great. Watching footage is... And he's giving up his back again. Oh, he's giving up his fucking back again. The more he gives his back up, the more I'm leaning towards Askarov. Oh, look, he's giving his back up. Stop giving your back up. Stop it. The problem with Askarov is he's so fast at taking his opponent's back and getting that body triangle locked in, that if Moreno just gives his back up once or twice per round, like we've seen him do here, how many times has he given his back up in this fight? And we're only in the second round. 8 or 9 times? Look at this, belly down. Askarov would have a body triangle in play all day, full back control, and Moreno's not going anywhere. This fight's a bitch for betting. This fight is a bitch for betting. It's a fucking bitch because Moreno's showing big boy weaknesses that Askarov can exploit, but capping him at 65 to 70% in his UFC debut is so aggressive. Just remember that first round against Razul, where Askarov got taken down easily and just didn't show much urgency to get back to his feet. That alone means you can't cap him at 65 to 70%. That's a huge probability to assign a fighter. But so many red flags here from Moreno. And remember, this fight was back in May. This fight was only 4 months ago. So the version of Moreno we're seeing here is probably going to be pretty similar to the version of Moreno we get tonight. Look at this. Belly down, back fully exposed. Oh, I've got a fucking headache with this fight. Kamais Okin has got a really good point. He said Askarov will be improved compared to a year ago. It is a really good point, man. Whereas this version of Moreno is probably going to be pretty damn similar. Third round, Moreno's given his back up about 10 times so far in the last 10 minutes. This is why I always say let the odds do the work for you. Moreno scores a knockdown there. Very, very nice. In the top position. Now, Moreno does have a reasonably heavy top game. We've seen that in his past fights, particularly against Sergio Pettis, although Pettis not the best off his back. Speaking of Sergio Pettis, we will be doing a live research video of that fight very, very, very soon. Do I get breakfast before we do that fight, or fuck it, should we just go and do the Pettis fight straight away? What do you reckon, boys? What do you reckon? I reckon as soon as this fight's done, we should do the Pettis Nam fight. That's what we're going to do. That's how we roll. That is exactly what we are going to do. We are going to do Pettis, Tyson Nam straight after this fight. And then I've covered a fucking boatload of fights this week. I agree, Stephen Hartley. I agree, dude. I agree. Askarov's takedown defense is a garbage bag. And Moreno does have a reasonably heavy top game. Although his opponent trying to back him off with butterfly hooks here. Moreno stays heavy. Maintains top position. And I mean, at the moment, this is a 5-round title fight, but Moreno won round 1. He outstruck Perez. He lost round 2. Got controlled for long periods. He's winning this round 2 minutes into the round. Moreno on the back here now. Literally just so when to skip ahead, the action gets interesting. Again, exactly the same position. Leon try and remember we were saying earlier on, Moreno's also very quick at taking the back, and we see a bit of it there as Perez gives his back up to try and work his way back to his feet. Moreno gets one hook in on the left side, very nice. It's going to be quite easy for him to get the right hook in as well. Although from this camera angle, he's not at the best angle. You can sneak the right hook in here, but he's choosing to triangle the left leg instead, because Perez is trying to turn into him. Very nice from Moreno there. Because if he would have let go of that leg triangle, tried to get the hook in on the right side, that would have created a small window of opportunity for Perez to scramble into top position while Moreno didn't really have control of his body. So good grappling positional awareness there from Moreno. Very, very smart. So at the moment, this leg triangle is enabling him to keep this back control position. So let's see how this develops. Because Moreno not in a super strong position here, because as soon as he lets that leg triangle go, Perez is going to try and explode to his right, turn to his right, to try and end up on top. Let's see what happens. Will Perez end the round on top? Or will Moreno be able to maintain back control for the next minute and 45 seconds? Or will Moreno be able to get that second hook in play? Find out next time on Diary of a Pro Gambler. Let's see. Moreno not letting go of that leg triangle though. Interesting to see how this plays out. Bit of a stalemate here. Perez now trying to break the grip of Moreno, which would put Moreno in an even weaker position. Especially if Perez could slide this right leg out from the triangle. Minute and 10 seconds left to go. See, now you notice how Perez now trying to turn into his right to end up on top. Moreno reads it and goes with him though, and ends up maintaining top position. Very, very nice from Moreno there. Good positional awareness to understand the importance of staying on top there. That was crucial, because with a minute left to go in the round, you don't want to give your opponent the final minute of top control in the round, knowing the judges score rounds in favour of the fighter that finished the round the strongest. You wouldn't want to let your opponent end the round on top, get some ground and pound off, possibly steal the round with a minute of top control. And Moreno showing off his cardio here. This has been a grueling fight. They've been fighting for 15 minutes now. Moreno's still light on his feet, still looking fresh, still having pop in his shots, not even breathing heavy. Brandon Moreno with that Mexican cardio hasn't slowed down at all, whereas his opponent Perez taking some big deep breaths there. As we go into the fourth and I believe final round. I believe I'm not sure who the fuck's scoring this fight, but Mr. Moreno lost round 2, my friend. Don't know who is scoring this fight, but Moreno definitely lost round 2. He was controlled for long periods of that round. Please go back and understand how to score fights, whoever is scoring this fight. But this is the fourth round. Oh, I got a super chat. Kid X, thanks a lot, man. Kid X is one of my elite members, so you definitely shouldn't be giving me more money, dude. But I really, really appreciate it, Kid X. Thanks a lot for the super chat, bro. I really appreciate it. And hopefully, Hopefully I can pay you back by helping you earn some cash tonight in live betting, dude. Fingers crossed. Hopefully we can get after it tonight. It is a good event for live betting. I am quietly confident we'll make a decent profit tonight, bro. Moreno's still looking sharp here in the 4th round. This fight's been at a grueling pace. Lots of scrambles. Lots of action on the ground. And guys, what I'll do after this fight, we'll sum it up from a betting point of view. I'll answer any questions that have popped up. And then we will go do the Tyson Nam versus Sergio Pettis fight straight away. We're going to jump right in. Oh my God, he's done it again. Look at this position again. Moreno giving his back up to defend the takedown. Looks like there might have been a cage grab or something. I'm not sure exactly what's going on here. Maybe a low blow, an eye poke, some kind of foul. What happened there? Ah, it was an eye poke. Okay, eye poke. Moreno back in top position here. Heavy with the ground and pound. I mean, look at this though, boys. Can't fault Moreno, right? This is 17 minutes into the fight. Look, heavy ground and pound. Still fresh. Hasn't slowed down at all. Brandon Moreno's cardio never in question. So that is it, boys. We don't need to watch any more footage than that to come to our conclusion. How do we feel about this fight from a betting point of view? I will tell you how I feel about this fight from a betting point of view. Then I will answer your questions. And then we're going to go do the Tyson Nam versus Sergio Pettis fight straight away. Do another live research video. Also, thank you, boys, for liking this video. If you have liked this video, thank you also for subscribing if you have subscribed. And also thank you, Kid X, for the the super chat. It really does mean a lot, dude. I appreciate it. So how do we feel about this fight from a betting perspective? Well, it's fair to say after all the footage that we just watched. I mean, how long has this video been? Over an hour. We've been watching both guys for over an hour now, and it is quite clear that this is red flag city. Red flag city. If we talk about the red flags on Mr. Askarov, first red flag, very questionable takedown defense. Second red flag, weak off his back, which is a problem because we know Brandon Moreno has a very good deep double leg takedown and he's heavy from top position. We saw that in his last fight against Perez. Another red flag with Askarov is this is his UFC debut. A massive percentage of fighters lose when they make their UFC debut. This fight is also at high altitude. And Brandon Moreno's Mexican, so he's going to have home advantage on his side. He also has experience fighting in Mexico City in the past, which will help him deal with the high altitude. And the problem I have with Askarov here is his current odds of 1.67, which is minus 149, give him an implied probability of 60%. So to bet Askarov, you've got to cap him at 65%. That doesn't seem like a great deal to me. It really doesn't. I mean, I know a lot of people are on Askarov here, but like I think if based on what we've just seen, if you're giving Askarov a 65 to 70% chance of winning this fight, I think you're blind. I really do. At the end of the day, Brandon Moreno, there's a bunch of red flags with him, but it doesn't excuse Askarov's red flags and the fact that he's a big favourite that carries an implied probability of 60%. But if we look at Moreno's odds, currently around about 2.35, moneyline odds of plus 135, implied probability of 43%. I mean, fucking hell, boys. Red flag city. Stands very heavy on his lead leg, which opens him up to Askarov's vicious inside leg kicks from the southpaw stance. And also gives his back up way too much. And we saw the one thing that, in fact, I wasn't impressed with Askarov at all, but the one thing that he did great in the footage we watched is he did a great job of taking his opponent's back in a split second, and that is a massive part of victory for me because of how many times Brandon Moreno gave his back up in that fight against Perez. Now, will Brandon Moreno have done his homework on Askarov? Will he be coming into this fight knowing that he cannot give his back up because of how good Askarov is at taking the back and maintaining back control and getting that body triangle locked in? Will he have done his homework? Will he have done exactly what we've done? Anyone can do what we've done tonight. They can throw some fights on at Askarov. They can see what he's good at, what he's bad at. Has Moreno done that? There's no way to know, right? What I would say is both guys have got super red flags, okay? To be able to get any value on Moreno here, you've got to give him at least a 50% chance of winning. And I don't know how you can do that when we've just seen him give his back up to Perez about 12 times in 17 minutes. So for me, both guys have got an enormous amount of red flags. This is a 60-40 fight in the eyes of the bookies. I just don't know why you'd want to bet this fight. I really don't. Remember, making money from betting on MMA is not about being the smartest guy at the bar. It's about making life easy for yourself and only putting your money in strong positions. There are no strong positions on this fight. How could you feel confident in either one of these guys based on what we've watched tonight? And yes, I get that Moreno's an underdog, but the dude just gives his back up all the time. There are no strong positions on this fight, boys. There really aren't. Please tell me I'm wrong. I would love you to put some counter arguments in the live chat. But there ain't no fucking bets on this fight. So I love being able to do these kind of videos because I take so much shit from people from passing so much. But when you look at the odds and we look at the footage we've just watched, how can you bet this fight? You'd have to be mad. So what I'm going to do, I will answer any questions you've got here, and then we will jump right into the Tyson Nam Sergio Pettis fight, and then I'm going to go get some breakfast because I am fucking starving, boys. So if you've got any questions about this fight, drop it in the live chat. I'll whiz through them. Then we will jump right into this Pettis Tyson Nam fight. And I've heard a few people say they're betting. I've heard a few people say they're betting Tyson Nam, who is a big underdog here against Pettis, I believe. This fight sucks for betting though, boys. Let's go back through. Sorry if I missed your questions. YouTube is a goddamn nightmare for keeping up with comments. It's fucking daylight outside. I'm sure it was dark when I started this live stream. It's fucking daytime. I can turn the lights off in here now. Right, boys. Let's answer any questions you may have about this fight. Kamais Ukin is saying Moreno is pretty savvy. Despite having poor takedown defense, he's never been finished. That's why I prefer Askarov decision. Yeah, I would get on board with that. Let's see what kind of guys Moreno has been fighting. Has he faced any really dangerous submission dudes? Pantoja's obviously a nightmare on the ground. High-level Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. The former Nova União Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu coach. He was a guest coach when Claudia Gadelha coached The Ultimate Fighter alongside Joanna Jędrzejczyk, and we know Gadelha is a beast on the ground, so the fact Pantoja used to be a coach is a good sign. Dustin Ortiz, very, 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 very strong grappler. So is Luis Smoker, although that fight ended early. So that is a bit of a problem. I know the fight was 3 years ago, but he did get submitted by rear naked choke by Alexandre Pantoja, got submitted by rear naked choke against Isaac Camarillo, also submitted by rear naked choke by Bialecki, also submitted by rear naked choke by Sullivan, also submitted by rear naked choke by Amaro. So it is quite clear, boys, in this little run here, in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 fights, he's got wins by rear naked choke. So what's interesting about this is he's very good at taking his opponent's back. but he also gives his back up a lot. Is that just a position he's got used to in training? He likes to mix it up and give up control of his back and fight to defend the rear naked choke, and also likes to go after the rear naked choke his opponent as well. What's going on there? Seems like a lot of rear naked choke action throughout Brandon Moreno's career. There's another win by rear naked choke from him against Dustin Ortiz. Don't know what's going on there, but I wouldn't want to mix it up when fucking around with back control from Askarov, because Askarov's back control looked amazing. Simple Man has said Askarov didn't look all that good to me. I'd give Askarov the edge, but I wouldn't bet it, and I'm hoping Moreno wins and he gets another big fight versus a decent opponent. I'll fade him big. I agree with everything you just said, Simple Man. I think you hit the nail on the head, dude. Lucas Oliveira has said, will you cover the Grasso versus Esparza fight? I will try, dude. If I get time, I will do my best to do that fight. Stephen Hartley said Moreno could easily ride out 3-round decision with 3 takedowns. Too much risk, I reckon. I agree, dude. I absolutely agree with you, man. Scott Taylor has said, you're a legend. I joined last month and I'm loving it. I know you probably can't say I'm thinking Diaz is juicy odds this early against George. You think they will change? Thanks a lot for joining my website, Scott. I'm glad you like it, dude. Really appreciate you joining the website, man. Really appreciate it, dude. It's great because when these motherfucking bookies keep closing my accounts, I still have a stable income. So your memberships, they mean the world to me, man. I really appreciate it, dude, because sometimes it's a fucking ball ache trying to get hold of enough betting accounts to keep making money, especially with max bet limits and liquidity being so low at times on MMA fights. And then, do I think the odds will change on Diaz versus Masvidal? I do, man, because in a fight like Masvidal and Diaz, whenever you've got a fight between two fighters that people love, people tend to have really strong opinions on fights like that. So you'll have one group of people in the Diaz camp, you'll have one group of people in the Masvidal camp, and because of that, you'll see a lot of odds movement. Like we saw it with the Gaethje and Cerrone fight last week, right? So Cerrone and Gaethje, two super popular fighters. You've got a big camp of people that think Gaethje's going to win, big camp of people that think Cerrone's going to win, and because of that, we saw the odds jump about significantly all week. I think just during fight week, you could have bet Cerrone at anything from 2.25, which is plus 125, right up to 3.0, which is plus 200. Whenever you've got a fight featuring really popular fighters, you will always see a ton of line movement. So I do think we'll see the odds jump about a bit on Diaz against Masvidal. But I am I'm like 75% sure. I'm like 90% sure I'm going to be betting the Diaz versus Masvidal fight, because I do have a super strong lean on it, but I don't want to say how I'm leaning yet, because as you guys know, max bet limits are low, liquidity is low. If I start telling you guys which way I'm leaning, that could have a big influence on the odds, because max bet limits are so low. If just, look, we've got 145 people watching this right now. If just 5 or 10 of you go and max bet the guy I tell you to bet on, that could move the odds in a big way. So I would rather keep it quiet for now until closer to the time of the event when liquidity improves, and then my opinion won't have such a big impact on the odds because liquidity will have improved. JDez111 has said, don't let the undefeated Russians fool you. Remember, Kunchenko just laid an egg against Gilbert Burns. Yeah, man, for sure. Honestly, Dez, you bring up a really good point, dude, because I didn't know anything about Askarov before I did this research video. I'd never seen him fight before. I'd never heard of him. And all week I've been doing these live research videos. People telling me in the live chat, you've got to do the Askarov-Moreno fight. You've got to do the Askarov-Moreno fight. Askarov's a beast. Askarov's going to win. Yada, yada, yada. That's all I was hearing. And when we've just actually watched Askarov, we can see that there's tons of red flags with him. He's definitely not a safe bet. And I think a lot of the time, Des, you are 100% right. I think people see these undefeated Russians and they automatically assume that they're going to be absolute monsters that are going to come in and run through everyone. But that is why it is so important to watch footage, because the footage doesn't lie. At the end of the day, when I do a breakdown video, like a traditional breakdown video where I can't show footage, I'll give my opinion on how I think a fight will play out. And how I give my opinion is based on me sitting down and doing exactly what I've just done. I watch footage from both guys. When I do the other breakdown videos, like the Jeremy Stephens Yair Rodriguez fight, I've literally done this. I've watched 2 or 3 of Yair Rodriguez's recent fights, 2 or 3 of Jeremy Stephens, visualised how they both matched up, look at the odds, seen there's value on Stephens, fired a bet off, and then I just present my research to you in that breakdown video. And guys want to disagree with me all the time in the comments. What they don't understand is, I'm just saying what I've seen. Like, literally, we've just seen that Moreno and Askarov have both got huge weaknesses that they can exploit. Sorry for passing. It's just the fucking way it is. Ain't no good bet. And you're right, dude. I think a lot of people wiki cap. I think a lot of people will go to a guy like Askarov and they'll be like, oh, he's the ACB flyweight champion. That's good. He's undefeated. That's good. Oh, he's fought some guys with some good records. Oh, look at this guy, 37-5. Look at this guy, 19-6. That's quite impressive. And then they'll look at a guy like Moreno and they'll be like, oh, 15-5. That doesn't look so good. Oh, you know, he's lost a few fights recently. You know, he got released from the UFC. Askarov's a good bet. They'll just pluck it out of thin air without actually evaluating how both guys match up stylistically, what the implied probability in the odds actually mean, and then they'll just bet Askarov blind. I think so many people do that, and then they want to fucking tell me in the comments I'm wrong, which is crazy to me. Let's see what other questions we've got. So, Quacho, I'm really sorry, mate. I know I'm not pronouncing your name right, but it's KWYATJO. Has said the way Moreno was jumping at the weigh-ins made me think he's going to outpace himself in the first round. I disagree, man. I am not worried about Moreno's cardio at all. We just saw him fight a really hard 4 rounds in that fight against Perez. Didn't slow down at all. We also saw him go 5 hard rounds in Mexico City at altitude against Sergio Pettis. Didn't slow down at all. Was still looking fresh in the 5th round. So I don't think Moreno's cardio is in question here at all. Oh, boy, he's got another super chat as well. Lucas, man, what is going on? Einstein 550 is another one of my elite members dropping $5 super chat. Thanks a lot, mate. You guys, my elite members, man, keep super chatting me. You guys don't have to, man. You already give me enough money as it is, but I am hoping that I can repay you boys tonight with some decent profits on live betting later on. Hopefully we can get it done. But you boys should not be super chatting, but I appreciate it a lot. Thank you so much, Einstein. Hopefully I can repay you tonight, dude. Alex Leon has asked, have we made our mind on Moreno versus Askarov? Yes, mate, I would definitely pass. I know it's boring. I know people find it frustrating. I know people say, how the fuck can you spend 3 hours researching a fight only to pass? But I don't know what to tell you, boys. Making money from gambling ain't fucking easy. And unfortunately, you have to dig and dig and dig and dig and dig and grind to find the diamonds, man. You know what I mean? When you start digging for diamonds, you don't just fucking pluck diamonds out your ass everywhere. Sometimes you have to dig for a very long time to find a diamond. That's just the way it is. That's fucking gambling, man. So yeah, it is a pass, but it's the right decision at the end of the day. JDez111 has asked, how do you feel about a prop on this fight? Let's take a look, man. Let's take a look. Because, of course, obviously we've just watched a bunch of footage which should help us really understand the most likely ways this fight is going to play out, and hopefully be able to find a decent prop bet in there. So without, I'm not even going to look at the odds. I'll tell you what I think could be a good live bet, and then we'll look at the odds rather than being influenced by the odds. Not live bet, sorry, prop bet. Askarov by decision is interesting to me, because I think Brandon Moreno gives up his back so frequently that Askarov is going to have many, many, many opportunities to get that rear naked choke in play. And Moreno did get submitted by rear naked choke by Pantoja on TEF. Now, Moreno probably gives his back up a lot because he's very, very confident in his rear naked choke defense, which is why he doesn't mind giving it up. But Askarov's back take was lightning quick, and he's no joke. You definitely don't want him on your back. The other bet that I like is Moreno by decision, because Askarov's takedown defense is so bad that if Moreno has done his homework on this guy, he should be able to take him down, win 2 out of the 3 rounds from top position. So let's have a look what Moreno by decision is and what Askarov by submission. Askarov by submission, total dog shit odds. No way, I am not betting that. Terrible odds. So Askarov by submission's off the table. What's Moreno by decision? That's decent. I like that. Moreno by decision at 5.0 plus 400. It ain't bad. I don't personally bet props because max bet limits are really low. I don't personally like props. But if you do really want to bet this fight, I think Moreno by decision is the best prop. We being here has asked, will Cardiff win today? I'm not sure, man. Middlesbrough, they've had a rough start to the season, but they're decent, man. They are a decent side. They are decent. I'm not too sure how that plays out today. Don't have a strong read on it, man. Wasted Bananas saying that this fight has passed written all over it, at least from a money line perspective. I agree with you, man. I agree with you, Wasted Bananas, for sure, man. Stephen Hartley saying, I think Askarov is better, but not a good bet by a long shot. I agree, dude. I agree. I agree. I agree. Hot Mayonnaise has said, I thought 50-50 before watching this. How do you feel now, man? How do you feel now? Benjamin Silver saying 50-50 sounds about right. I don't know, man. Moreno giving his back up 136 times in 17 minutes isn't good. Tough to say, especially when his opponent's biggest strength appears to be taking the back. And I've lost where I am again. I hate YouTube. I really, really hate YouTube. Oh, I've lost where I am. Sorry, boys. YouTube is a nightmare. I know I've lost loads of fucking comments. Sorry if I miss any comments out, boys, but the YouTube live chat monitor goes so fast. At some point, it just whizzes right down to the bottom, and then you can't find out where you were. Hot Mayonnaise. Oh, thanks a lot, man. Hot Mayonnaise signed up to the website. Thanks a lot, dude. I really appreciate it, man. Hopefully, I can line your palms with silver and repay you by helping you in some more cash, dude. Jordan Bracey has asked, do you think either guy gets a finish here? I think Askarov takes the start, Moreno lasts and takes the end. No finish in my opinion. I don't know if the finish is inside the distance, man, because we don't know a lot about Askarov's striking, although Moreno's a tough motherfucker. His chin really did hold up real nice against Sergio Pettis and Pantoja. Took a lot of damage in those fights, showing off his toughness. What I would say is that you just can't give your opponent that much time on your back, because you're putting yourself at risk of being caught in a rear naked choke submission, right? So I do think it's more likely it goes the distance, but you definitely wouldn't want a guy like Askarov on your back for, a long period of time. So Sir Walter Johnson's has said, "Good morning, love what you do. Have you got a decent parlay for a 2-fight parlay for tonight?" Let's have a look, dude. Let us have a look. So with parlays, there's 2 different types of parlays I like to go for. If I'm only doing 2 legs, I like to make it as risk-free as possible. So Aldana's obviously got to be the first leg. It's tough, man. I would just go with Aldana and Stevens. I know it's boring, but I really do think Stevens gets the win tonight. I'm quite confident in Stevens. So Lucas Oliveira has said, this is Einstein, said, "Can you talk about the Grasso versus Oliveira, Grasso versus Esparza fight? Think there's value on Grasso at 1.8. She should be able to keep the fight standing. If she does, she's going to dominate a boxing match." I think Grasso's a really bad bet, dude, and I will tell you why. Like, with me, I don't like to debate fights with people, just because all I'm doing when I research fights is I am saying what I'm seeing. Like, it's not like I'm plucking ideas out of thin air and I'm like, I think this dude's going to win for this reason. I'm not doing that. I'm literally just watching footage and just relaying to you guys what I've seen. I think Grasso is a terrible bet because against Randa Marcos, she showed absolutely no takedown defense at all. No balance, and very, very weak off her back. When you get taken down, there's 2 ways you react to it. And if you react one way, it's good. If you react the other way, it's bad. When you get taken down, you should go down the team alpha male route of being taken down, where you do not let your opponent establish a dominant position. You do not let them flatten your shoulders out on the canvas. As soon as your butt hits the ground, you act like a spring and you immediately pop back to your feet. The other type of way fighters react to being taken down is they allow their opponents, almost in slow motion, to flatten their shoulders out on the canvas and establish a dominant position. Big red flag, and Grasso did that repeatedly in the Randa Marcos fight. So please don't think this is my opinion. Go and watch the Randa Marcos fight, and you'll see what I mean. There is no way on earth you can bet Grasso until she shows vastly improved takedown defense than what she showed against Randa Marcos, and we haven't seen it because she got taken down and submitted by Tatiana Suarez, and Karolina Kowalkiewicz is obviously a striker. So until we see it, we cannot assume it has got better. I know the fight was a long time ago, but remember what they say, assumption is the mother of all fuck-ups. Do not make assumptions, because if we look at the odds on Grasso, down to, even at the best odds, right? At best odds at the moment, 1.80 minus 125 for an implied probability of 56%. No fucking way, boys. No fucking way. She can't defend a takedown. So please don't bet Grasso this weekend. Remember, good bets don't always win. Bad bets don't always lose. If Grasso wins, it doesn't mean it was a good bet. It doesn't mean you got it right. It just means you got a little bit lucky because you rolled the dice and she ended up coming through for you. I'm actually considering a bet on Esparza, but the odds are improving. I'm going to see how it goes. Please don't take my word for it. Don't take my word for it. Go watch Grasso's fight against Randa Marcos, and you will see exactly what I mean, boys. There is no way you can bet a fighter like this against a wrestler. But you know what? This fight is great, right? This fight is great because Esparza is a strong offensive wrestler, certainly a stronger offensive wrestler than Randa Marcos. You know, most of Marcos' takedowns come from the clinch, the trips, the awkward, scrappy positions, whereas Esparza, much more of a traditional offensive wrestler. Nice single legs, nice double legs. This fight will be a good measure, right? Because Grasso talking about lots of injuries holding her back throughout her career. She said over the last couple of years she's made big improvements. Well, this is our opportunity to see it. The smart thing to do here might just be to pass and see what happens, right? Let's see if Grasso's takedown defense has improved or not. We haven't seen it. Let's have a look. This is certainly a fight where we're going to learn a lot, though, because neither girl is that dangerous in any position. You know, Grasso doesn't have too much power in her hands. Carla Esparza, not really a submission artist. So this fight's more than likely going to go the distance, which means we're going to get a chance to see Grasso's takedown defense tested. But based on the Marcos fight, Esparza could be a good bet here. Mish Lenz has said, what do you think about the Pettis versus Nam fight? We're going to research that straight away, mate. As soon as this live stream ends, we're going to go do the Pettis versus Nam fight. I haven't done it yet. We're going to jump right into it. I don't know anything about Nam. We're going to watch him just like we did with Askarov, see what happens. Devin Davis has said, I just got here. Who do you think wins straight, Askarov or Moreno? Asking for DraftKings more so than straight up betting. So if you're going to play DraftKings and you want to put Askarov or Moreno in your DraftKings team, I would go for Askarov just because obviously in DraftKings, finishes score a lot more points than decision wins. If Moreno wins, I think it's going to be because he wins a decision. He controls Askarov from top position, grinds out a decision. I think if Askarov wins, there's a very, very good chance that he's knocked Moreno out or submitted him with that rear naked choke. So I would take Askarov in DraftKings out of those two. God, I keep losing position, boys. I am very, very sorry. It's very annoying, but YouTube keeps zipping to the bottom. Very annoying. I've completely lost where I am. Completely lost where I am, boys. I'm very sorry. You know what? Let's sack this stream off and let's go and research the Tyson Nam against Sergio Pettis fight. So what I'm going to do, boys, I will end this stream now, then we will fire up another one straight away, literally in the next 10-15 minutes. Keep an eye on the channel. We will fire up a live stream for this Tyson Nam and Sergio Pettis fight, and we will get another fight done, boys. We'll go into it right now. So nice one, everyone. I will be back in literally 10 minutes with another stream. See you in a bit, boys. I'll be back very, very soon. But thanks for everyone that joined. Please hit the like button. Please subscribe if you haven't already. And please leave a comment. I'll be back literally 10 minutes, boys. I'll see you in a minute.